I have been kind of being a very judgy person, and it's all has a purpose because every reflection that an obstacle and mirror that we have is literally just us, like it's showing a part of ourselves. So I have been rejecting this idea of being a coach. I've been rejecting the self-development, certain layers and parts of the self-development community. And I was like, why am I all of a sudden rejecting this? Like, do I not want to be anything? Am I afraid of commitment? What am I running away from? And of course, there are things that are like scary to do, but I love self development. I love the spiritual community. I love being myself. And I was like scratching my head and I was like, I just want to be myself. Like, how the fuck do I do that? And that's the problem. So the ego attaches itself from one identity to the other. And I want to be myself, but who the fuck am I? And then I leaned into that. I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am, and that's okay. What my issue was is that I was seeing people be so superior and putting on this performance, and we're all just putting on this performance so that we can have this energetic exchange of money and importance and belonging and worthiness. And I think over the like between being judgmental of seeing other people do it, because you only could start seeing something once you have awareness of it and once you start rejecting that version of yourself as well. You don't just start saying I need to copy. Now you're saying I'm repulsed by it. And I just wanted to be me. So then I was looking through my content when I was like going viral every 2 seconds between putting on a fashion outfit for TikTok shop, doing trends, doing beauty, and that all had its purpose. And it's still to this day like so cute. And I love that I did that because it allowed me to see a version of myself that was able to get recorded on camera and had no problem being on camera. And I said, I just want to be authentic. Then I was saying like I came from a lifetime full of performance and I'm so done performing, or if you're done performing, like come along with me. And like nothing was really fitting. And then I was calling myself a coach. And then, I still have sessions open, but it's not really to become this like successful coach. It's more so I can continue to learn and to just practice talking. Like I love talking to people. I love learning about them. I love learning alongside them. I'm not better than anyone. So I was rejecting this idea. I was being super judgmental and I didn't care because you can't judge yourself judging other people. Like, oh my God, I shouldn't be doing that, and then do it anyways. Like, no, let yourself have the reflection and obstacle. Know that everything is a reflection as long as you don't stay in that state forever where everything is everybody else's fault, it has nothing to do with you. So I was like, oh my God, my ego is dying. Another layer of the ego is dying. It doesn't want to lose its job. So I was repulsed by it, and it was only because I was rejecting that version of myself, and I wanted to somehow, some way, subconsciously feel superior to them and say, oh my God, like you're performative. Like we all have done it. We've all come on camera. We've all tried to do social media, and then we feel like we're not being authentic, but it's the only way that we can be liked. Or we have to know that for me, I was afraid of evolving in public, not having all the answers. Like if I was going to commit to a role, I became that role. Everything about me became that, and I didn't have an identity outside of it. So I wanted to be free, and I didn't know how to do that. But it really is the people who don't know who they are and just go towards what excites them, and knows that sometimes on the other side of fear is more excitement and more growth and evolution, and just being okay with who you are and how perfect it is to be. Like, of course, it's not going to be overnight where you're in love with yourself and you love your life, but I lost a lot of motivation because I started being like, okay, I'm already in this life right now. Pretending that first of all, shaming myself and not liking my life and constantly chasing is fucking exhausting. It's kind of getting cringe to me. I'm outgrowing it. How do I like my life right now? Because first of all, last year, I would have dreamed of this life. Like the struggles and difficulties I'm having now, I probably would have been scared of it, but it still would have been better than what I was living like last year. But last year had its purpose as well. So everything up until this point is fucking perfect. And then I started losing motivation. I'm like, I don't really want to teach people. I kind of just want to vibe and be alongside people and not have a fixed outcome. And maybe self-development is not forever, but I know that I do enjoy talking. I just want to be me. So my soul, my higher self was coming through is I don't want this fixed role. I don't want everything to mean something about me. I want to change the relationship and what things mean about me. I am so done performing. And it's so funny because I have that in my bio, but I wasn't leaning into that because it's like I knew before I knew. And so ego just goes through getting attached through one change to another change, and you just become everything around you externally, and you make things mean something about you, and you put people on pedestals, or you put yourself on pedestals, and then you start saying I'm right, they're wrong, and then when you change and you all of a sudden relate to Sally and Joe again, oh, you're right, I'm sorry, the other people are wrong now. And it's like, no, we're all fucking right, we're all wrong, all at the same time. And we identify with what we do on a day-to-day basis, and when it gets taken away from us, or when we don't have it, we make it mean something about us, and then it starts reflecting back out to us all of our insecurities, all of the shenanigans that we feel like, we just really make ourselves feel bad. And it's, you know, there's a number of reflections. First of all, like, you put on weight when your body's protecting you from your own words and your thoughts. And awareness was the first step. So we also make emotions, our highs and lows, the ebbs and flows, mean something about us as well. So I wanted to get this video done. It was not happening for the life of me, over and over and over again. And this has been happening. And usually that, like, it would irritate me so much that I'd give up in the past, but we keep moving forward. But yesterday I laid down after doing something outside of my comfort zone. Like, I'm usually safe in my little bubble and isolation and just seeing the same people doing the same things. But when I have to face a mirror or do something differently, sometimes the emotions make me feel like I can't continue to do what I have to do on my to-do list, or what I expect of myself, because expectations and timelines are really fake. That doesn't mean just stop chasing your goals. Just stop chasing, period. You are who you are now, and you just continue to expand and push yourself to do things that are scary, but not out of shame. And don't shame yourself for shaming yourself. And so you go into this rabbit hole where the ego keeps winning, and it's just, we identify with so much, and we're so scared of not knowing the answers. We're so scared of not knowing who we are. We have to clutch on to the next thing, and that's where the ego is like, okay, you can change your life as long as your dependence is on that next role or that next thing. Or like, once you start feeling like your routine is even an attachment, you have to be okay. And this is a work in progress every single day, but be okay with you. Just be okay with you and how you live your life every day. And when you have these obstacles and reflections that come into your life that might not feel good at first, like, you can let it out by simultaneously knowing this does not define who you are. And it sounds really simple until you realize, oh my God, I have done 180s in my life externally. I have changed my life plenty. I have moved states, or I have moved houses. I've gotten new cars. I change quite frequently, but the frequency feels the same. That internal static of not enough and clutching on to the next thing is what really makes us not content in our life, and really slows us down, because we don't actually do what we want to do. And so I wanted to also, reading A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I don't know how to say his name, but I wanted to read something. This book is amazing, and it's putting language to what I'm having channels, downloads, and information is being brought forth because I'm ready to read it. But this I don't know if it's a chapter or this section is called Temporary Roles. And it says, if you are aware enough to be able to observe how you interact with other people, you may detect subtle changes in your speech, attitude, and behavior depending on the person you are interacting with. At first, it may be easier to observe this in others. Then you may also detect it in yourself. The way in which you speak to the chairman of the company may be different in subtle ways from how you speak to the janitor. How you speak to a child may be different from how you speak to an adult. Why is that? You are playing roles. You are not yourself, neither with the chairman nor with the janitor of the child. When you walk into a store to buy something, when you go to a restaurant, the bank, the post office, you may find yourself slipping into pre-established social roles. You become a customer and speak and act as such, and you may be treated by the salesperson or waiter who is also playing a role as a customer. A range of conditioned patterns of behavior come into effect between two human beings that determine the nature of the interaction. Instead of human beings, conceptual mental images are interacting with each other. The more identified people are with their respective roles, the more inauthentic the relationship become. You have a mental image, not only of who the other person is, but of also of who you are, especially in relation to the person you are interacting with. So you are not relating with that person at all, but who you think you are is relating to who you think the other person is, and vice versa. The conceptual image your mind has made of yourself is relating to its own creation, which is the conceptual image it has made of the other person. The other person's mind has probably done the same. So every egoic interaction between two people is in reality the interaction between four conceptual mind-made identities that are ultimately fictions. It is therefore not surprising there is so much conflict in relationship. There is no true relationship. So just think about the interactions you have. It's basically saying you're interacting with their perceived idea of how they should act and what they think of you, and they're interacting with your perceived like act. Like you're not even talking to the person. Same thing, you go on social media and people come on there, and sometimes before you're really aware, they can really trick you into thinking they have all the answers or that they know everything, and that they're not putting this fucking role on. And I guess I got so tired of it. My soul is just craving such depth, but it appreciates people as well. It appreciates everything, and it's seeing why it's helpful and beneficial. But I was getting so pissed off because I was rejecting that part of myself. The ego creates separation, and separation creates suffering. The ego is therefore clearly pathological, apart from the obvious ones such as anger, hatred, and so on. There are other more subtle forms of negativity that are so common they are usually not recognized as such. For example, impatience, irritation, nervousness, and being fed up. They constitute the background unhappiness that is many people's predominant inner state. You need to be extremely alert and absolutely present to be able to detect them. Whatever you do, it is a moment of awakening, of disidentification from the mind. Here's one of the most common negative states that is easily overlooked precisely because it is so common, so normal. You may be familiar with it. Do you often experience a feeling of discontent that could be best described as kind of a background resentment? It may be either specific or non-specific. Many people spend a large part of their lives in that state. They are so identified with it that they cannot stand back and see it. Underlying that feeling are certain unconsciously held beliefs, that is to say, thoughts. You think these thoughts in the same way that you dream your dreams when you are asleep. In other words, you don't know you are thinking those thoughts, just as a dreamer doesn't know he is dreaming. Here are some of the most common unconscious thoughts that feed the feeling of discontent or background resentment. I have stripped away the content from those thoughts so that the bare structure remains. They become more clearly visible that way. Whenever there is unhappiness in the background of your life or even in the foreground, you can see which of these thoughts applies and fill in your own content according to your personal situation. This is fucking amazing. Wait till you hear this. There's something that needs to happen in my life before I can be at peace, happy, fulfilled, etc. And I resent that it hasn't happened yet. Maybe my resentment will finally make it happen. So you think your negative thoughts are going to push you even more? It's a loop. Something happened in the past that should not have happened, and I resent that. If that hadn't happened, I would be at peace now. Loop. Something is happening now that should not be happening, and it is preventing me from being at peace now. Loop. You are the only one that can get yourself to be at peace, to forgive, to let go, to not really identify with the emotions, the feelings, and life. You can say, I'm experiencing these things and I'm a human and I need to let these go, and you don't have to shame yourself for feeling these things, but ultimately know that you're going to return to the state of, well, this is telling me something, this is information, this is data. And that's what my mind was kind of going towards all these weeks, and I didn't have language for it, and this book is just amazing. Often the unconscious beliefs are directed toward a person, and so happening becomes doing, you should do this or that so I can be at peace, and I resent that you haven't done it yet. Maybe my resentment will make you do it. Something you or I did, said, or failed to do in the past is preventing me from being at peace now. What you are doing or failing to do now is preventing me from being at peace. All of the above are assumptions. Unexamined thoughts that are confused with reality, they are stories the ego creates to convince you that you cannot be at peace now or cannot be fully yourself now. Being at peace and being who you are, that is, being yourself, are one. The ego says maybe at some point in the future I can be at peace if this, that, or that other thing happens, or I obtain this or become that. Or it says I can never be at peace because of something that happened in the past. Listen to people's stories and they could all be entitled why I cannot be at peace now. The ego doesn't know that your only opportunity for being at peace is now. Or maybe it does know and it is afraid that you may find this out. Peace, after all, is the end of the ego. How to be at peace now? By making peace with the present moment. This is where my motivation stopped coming in, because I was starting to make peace with, if nothing ever worked out, I'm okay now regardless. Because why am I going to beat myself up and make myself feel like shit for not being able to change something overnight? Like, even if I work at it and it never happens, you have to fall in love with that too. And it takes a process. It takes every single day of you becoming more at peace and realizing you are not anything else you identify with. Just, I'm not even, I'm experiencing doing a podcast. I'm not a podcaster. Like, I am doing these things, but I am not these things. I am not like the I am thing. I am not. I am who I am. I am my higher self. I am Anastasia. I am this soul. It's fucking trippy. The present moment is the field on which the game of life happens. It cannot happen anywhere else. Once you have made peace with the present moment, see what happens, what you can do or choose to do, or rather what life does through you. These are 3 ways that convey the secret of the art of living, the secret of all success and happiness. One with life. Being one with life is being one with now. You then realize that you don't live your life, but life lives you. Life is the dancer and you are the dance. The ego loves its resentment of reality. What is reality? Whatever it is. Buddha called it ta, the suchness of life, which is no more than the suchness of this moment. Opposition toward that suchness is one of the main features of the ego. It creates the negativity that the ego thrives on, the unhappiness that it loves. In this way, you make yourself and others suffer, and you don't even know that you are doing it. Don't know that you are creating hell on earth, to create suffering without recognizing it. This is the essence of unconscious living. This is being totally in the grip of the ego. The extent of the ego's inability to recognize itself and see what it is doing is staggering and unbelievable. It will do exactly what it condemns others for and not see it. When it is pointed out, it will use angry denial, clever arguments, and self-justifications to distort the facts. People do it, corporations do it, governments do it. When all else fails, the ego will resort to shouting or even to physical violence. Send in the Marines. We can now understand the deep wisdom in Jesus' words on the cross. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. To end the misery that has afflicted the human condition for thousands of years, you have to start with yourself and take responsibility for your inner state at any given moment. That means now, ask yourself, is there negativity in me at this moment? Then become alert, attentive to your thoughts as well as your emotions. Watch out for the low-level unhappiness in whatever form that I mentioned earlier, such as discontent, nervousness, being fed up, and so on. Watch out for thoughts that appear to justify or explain this unhappiness, but in reality cause it. The moment you become aware of a negative state within yourself, it does not mean you have failed. It means that you have succeeded. Until that awareness happens, there is identification with inner states, and such identification is ego. With awareness comes disidentification from thoughts, emotions, and reactions. This is not to be confused with denial. The thoughts, emotions, or reactions are recognized, and in that moment of recognizing, disidentification happens automatically. Your sense of self, of who you are, then undergoes a shift. Before, you were the thoughts, the emotions, and reactions. Now you are the awareness, the conscious presence that witnesses those states. One day I will be free of the ego. Who is talking? The ego. To become free of the ego is not really a big job, but a very small one. All you need to do is be aware of your thoughts and emotions as they happen. This is not really a doing, but an alert seeing. All right, I have 2 more minutes on this thing, but when you shift your consciousness from being aware, you realize that there will be happiness again. There might be sadness, and it is all information and data for you to move on in life. I'm gonna figure out what this reflection is with this fucking obstacle to get this, to record this, but this is what I'm going through now, and I didn't realize that the ego had such a tight grip on my life. And now, once you are aware and you're able to not identify with things and realize, be really okay with why you're doing the things you're doing, you are free of the ego because you are now in the present moment. You're one with life. And please get this book if you are so ready to stop being like in the grip, like just transferring where the ego goes. The book is already changing my life, and I literally started reading it after I stopped wanting to be so performative. I just wanted to be me, and now it's giving it language. So I hope this video helped. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully not able to be cut short. Bye.